Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Boys Politics. And Chris, how's it going?
I'm not happy.
Why is that?
Someone slept for 3 hours.
Yeah, that would be me.
I hope. Now, this is just my hopes and prayers and dreams every night that you're up until 4 a.m. tonight.
If I'm up till 4 a.m. again tonight, I'm absolutely going to lose my mind.
Good.
Because, you see, guys, I was up 4 a.m. the night before recording, and it was terrible.
Fine, I hope you're up until 6.
That's literally an hour before I get up.
You realize that I've been up since 4:30?
Sounds like fun.
So I don't want to hear you belly aching.
Well,
Okay.
then maybe you shouldn't wish for me to be up until 4.
I hope you get karma for your 3 hours of sleep. Unlike me, I'm a responsible adult with things to do.
I mean, I came home and accidentally fell asleep. What do you want from me?
I want you to not accidentally do things that I can't accidentally do. Is that so much to ask for?
I am so sorry.
I'm going to file for a divorce.
Oh my god. Guys, again, like I've said before, this is what I deal with on the daily basis.
Oh, what you deal with? Oh, look at what I deal with. I'm over here doing all the work and you're sleeping for 3 hours.
Look, you could have called me, but did you? No.
Yeah, I did.
That says more about you.
Yeah, I was being a nice person and letting you sleep.
You didn't know I was asleep until I actually called you back and said, hey, I was asleep.
I had my guesses, and you know that because you saw the messages.
Actually, I don't think I did see those.
Yeah, I know you're blind, so shut up. You heard it.
I didn't hear it either.
You know what? Screw you. Let's talk about some news.
That far in the chat, but I mean, you know, guys gotta sleep sometimes, man. I took my opportunity completely by accident, but I still took it. An opportunity is an opportunity, no matter how you look at it.
Well, let's talk about the opportunity of Conan O'Brien then.
All right, let's do it.
Back in March when COVID-19 struck, are you happy now, Nick?
I'm very happy. We're having some technical difficulties over here. Okay.
So back in March when COVID-19 struck, just like the rest of the late night shows and pretty much all television people, they started working from their homes, and a lot of like the behind the scenes people like production and editors and things like that were laid off, or their jobs were outsourced, or there was something, each person was different, but TBS no longer wanted to pay for Conan O'Brien's 300 employees, and he said, no, I still want my employees to be paid. They're still working for me. I want them to be working for me. They need to be paid. Well, Conan O'Brien decided to pay his employees since March till now out of his own pocket, and it came out to be around $12 million out of his own pocket.
Jeez. That's honestly kind of like amazing, because it very easily could have tried to just fight the station and gotten them to pay it, or he could have just let things happen as they will. But to pay $12 million out of his own pocket to make sure that all of his employees are paid, that's actually that's really cool.
And not to mention, he's not even one of the richest talk show hosts, there is. He's been probably around one of the longest ones, but he ain't the richest ones by any means. And then you have some of the other ones, not going to name names, but some of the other ones that are 10 times richer than him, and they didn't even care about their employees.
Oh my god, I know. I mean, past episodes for it will speak to that.
Yeah. So that was, when I read that, I was pretty happy to see that. And, you must feel pretty good to work for Conan O'Brien, to know that he cares about you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that would be one of those situations where you just gotta be thankful on so many levels to be an employee of that show.
Now,
We got some different news now, Chris.
we got some different news about money.
Stuff we don't usually talk about on here.
Yeah, it's a story we don't really talk about because it's an exclusive. Now, in the quote-unquote TV biz world, when there's an exclusive, that means that the news company has the source of their own. This source isn't available to every single news station around, so it's an exclusive. No one else will really talk about it. It might be brought up, but it won't be in depth like theirs. Because two reasons. A, it's an exclusive. You're not going to just repeat what one news article said. And two, it's more of a respect type of thing. That was their source. That's their story. They got it. You let them have it. And if you don't know what we're talking about the New York Times exclusive getting a hold of our president, Donald Trump's tax returns. Now, just a light basis of it. We're not going to repeat everything that the New York Times said, because if you want to know what they said, you can go read the article yourself. So, the basis of the article is that Donald Trump only paid $750 in federal income tax. Now, if you don't pay taxes or you're oblivious to what you pay in taxes, the average American pays way more than that a year in federal taxes. A school teacher pays more in taxes a year than him. So there's that. Now, since this is a New York Times exclusive, we're going to take it a little different angle, and we're going to talk about some taxes, because that's everyone's favorite to hear about some taxes.
Well, first, as we get into this, we must point out that Trump denies denies everything that's said here. According to him, he pays millions of dollars in taxes every year. And if you listen to yesterday's debate review episode, we actually talk about that a little bit and what he said during that. But as we get into this breakdown a little bit, we'll start out by kind of mentioning that the annual budget is $4 trillion in this country. And actually, it's over that amount. And it goes towards things like, funding the military, Social Security, education, transportation, and federal agencies, and even, it goes beyond even that. In 2019, we saw $2 trillion come from income taxes alone. 36% comes from payroll tax. 7% comes from corporate taxes. Income tax and social insurance make up 86%. This has been the government's highest revenue source since 1950. Now,
I found this really interesting.
Yeah. So, in a recent report from May, shows that people that make $879,415 between years 2014 and 2016 owe $45.7 billion. That's a lot of money.
I find this part right here is the kicker, Nick.
Yeah.
The reason that these people aren't audited, Nick, is because the IRS department does not have the funding to audit these people. How ironic is that?
That's ironic to an extreme.
Yeah, I was like, oh, of course. That's just great.
What I find oddly interesting about this is that, we see, if you're a normal everyday American, you probably know the IRS likes to try and, look into people a lot, just the everyday person. And then when it comes to these rich people, that owe, just billions upon billions of dollars in taxes, they can't even audit them. Because evidently they don't have the funding to do that.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting that they don't have the funding to audit these people, and $47 billion is just, that's a lot of money.
That kind of money hurts my brain to think about.
Well, I mean, everyone that's listening, you really have to go read the New York Times report, because the money that the president owes hurts my brain.
Oh, yeah. We honestly can't do this story real justice. You have to go read this because, no, like Chris just said, it's scary. It's honestly terrifying.
And if the person that makes the show notes remembers, there will be a link in the description for the New York Times.
The one thing that I will say about this is one of the numbers you're going to see is the fact that apparently he pays $70,000 a year for his hair. How?
And everyone's seen his hair, so like... But yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much just because it's a New York Times report. That they deserve all the credit for that. So
absolutely.
If the show note person remembers, there will be a show note link down below for that article. There is no promises that he will remember, though. If he doesn't remember, just Google New York Times leaked tax. Donald Trump's tax returns. It will come right out.
And editor will do what he can to remind show note person.
Yeah, if the editor's not sleeping for 3 hours.
Hey, leave me alone.
Now transitioning into everyone's favorite school subject, let's talk about some history, shall we? Everyone's favorite class, history class, is now in session with our history teacher, Nick Rod. Nick, today our class, for the curriculum, we need to talk about TikTok, the history of TikTok ban.
That's right, Chris. So the reason we're kind of going into the history of TikTok, if you didn't watch Monday's show.
If you didn't watch Monday's show, what is going on with you? You need to watch it.
Yeah. In Monday's show, we discussed how we'd kind of be going into an in-depth history lesson for everything TikTok because of just how much has happened and how confusing it can all get since we've been spreading it from episode to episode. So if you're not caught up on episodes, or you might have forgotten some information from the past episodes, we're here to just kind of go over everything that's happened so far.
So the whole thing started in the middle of August. The president gave it a 45-day ban, which went to September 20th. And then after that, TikTok filed a 34-page lawsuit against the Trump administration. And then after that, the final week of August, Microsoft says that they expressed interest in buying TikTok, and then at Oracle, then Walmart got involved. And then shortly after that, he signs a second executive order saying that as long as by September 20th there was a deal in progress, it would get extended till November 12th. So then he had another thing on September...
Whoa.
Excuse me.
I am the teacher here, and you are the student.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll leave everything my pupil has said so far, and we'll pick up on September 20th, when TikTok was supposed to be pulled from app stores. Trump extended that to last week, the 27th, to be specific. And then this is when we start getting into the new news here. So we talked about how TikTok was going to be in court Sunday morning. And The judge ended up ruling in TikTok's favor. This means that for now, you can still download the app on all of the, different app stores, whether it be Apple, Google, whatever. This is, of course, good news since it's still available to everyone. However, don't think that things are over yet. We're still looking at the November 12th deadline, and there's still things to be settled. The 34-page lawsuit still needs to be settled. A deal still needs to be formally drawn up and accepted by both the U.S. and China. And of course, we saw just not too long ago China decline the deal. But we'll have to see if that changes as we move forward, because we have just a little over a month left for this deal to happen, almost a month and a half.
Yeah, so there's still a lot going to be happening with TikTok, but that's a general history lesson of TikTok, and I figured we might as well do it because with all the TikTok going on, it's a little hard to keep track of everything.
Oh,
how this whole thing started.
I definitely agree. I mean, there have been so many bounces back and forth with the whole thing. We saw reports almost confirming one thing before, something completely different and something, that we never would have expected just comes out of the blue and hits us.
But now moving on to, so that was good news. Now let's move into possibly better news, but don't get your hope up. Good news.
And we are talking about the stimulus.
Another stimulus is going through the house.
They actually have done it, guys, and they pulled this off in quite the early days of the recess. Of course, Senate's been out for a little bit now, but the stimulus is going through the House. They're actually making progress. I know I'm impressed.
Big boy impressed. Now, the new bill is also called the HEROES Act, just like the other one. It's pretty much the same exact stimulus as the first one, but the only difference is it's a scaled down version. The first one was a $3.4 trillion deal. This one is down to $2.2 trillion. So some things that are included into this is the $1,200 individual payment, extending the $600 unemployment bonus, a scaled down version of the PPE loan program, money for airlines and local government, COVID testing, and $15 billion for the USPS.
So the House Speaker continues to negotiate with the White House, and it's unclear if it's a political move or due to negotiations. Even if this does pass through the House, the Senate leadership said this is a non-starter, and this will bring it to a floor vote, but the Senate's pretty much saying they don't want this to go through. So don't
get your hopes up is what Nick is saying.
Yeah, don't get attached to the idea. Don't get your hopes too high. It's definitely progress, and we've been seeing a bit of that in the past couple of weeks. But yeah, don't think that this is a guarantee by any means.
So here's one way to look at it. This either is a political stunt or negotiations are finally kicking in a little bit and there might be hope. Or it might be a political stunt and there's zero hope. Now, I don't want to sound the bearer of bad news, but a safe bet would be don't expect anything until after the election, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, things are so tricky because of everything that's going on. Obviously, the debate started this week, and that, if you watch the debate, kind of how tough things are between the two parties right now. Just from the two candidates alone.
Well, that's a great segment into our next topic, Nick, the debate.
Yeah.
Because you got stimulus issues and now you got a debate issue. It's almost like we planned this ahead.
Crazy. But now, mind you, what we're going to talk about here, it's not a debate recap. I mentioned it before, but we do have a debate recap episode. It came out yesterday morning, so if you haven't gone and listened to that and you're interested on what happened and our take on things a little bit, go ahead and go listen to that. According to a CBS poll, 69% of Americans were annoyed by the debate. 13% felt informed. And
I don't remember the exact number. I didn't have a chance to write this down last night. I just had time to write those two down. But it was a very high percentage, next to the 69% of annoyed. It was a very high percentage of exhausted. Now, I know this is no laughing matter of the debate last night. Let's be honest. It's hard to call it a debate. That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah, I mean, it really was.
Now, this is no laughing matter, but I will say this. Our country is now united. We're all annoyed.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think anyone who watched the debate or anyone who looked at the Cliff Notes the day after can really say that this was any type of official debate. What we saw last night was an absolute train wreck where neither party showed much professionalism.
Now, with that in mind, if you want to say, quote unquote, who won the debate last night, the polls are saying that Joe Biden does have a 48%, I guess you would call it, win over the president. He has a 41%, and then the remaining percentage is undecided.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but win a debate on quotations, I mean, that doesn't really help with anything, but that's what the polls are saying. But last night, just, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, last night, guys, you gotta understand, after the debate last night as of recording this, mind you, of course, I was exhausted. Chris, I know you were too. We were both just like, what just happened?
Well, I texted you in the middle of it saying, what? This is no debate.
Yeah, no, we were texting back and forth throughout like the entire thing, just going, what is going on? Like, this is not okay.
Like, preparing for yesterday's show, I was prepared for it to be a traditional debate. What I got was not that. I was prepared to take notes for a traditional debate, not a kindergartner's debate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and of course, next week we'll be seeing the vice president debate that's happening on October 7th, and we're praying to get a bit more of a professional and a little more put together debate on that day.
Now, I haven't talked to Nick about this because these ideas always come to me. So I'm just going to say it. If we don't do it, Nick will just edit this out because he's a genius.
Of course.
Monday, we will be talking about the debate a little bit in a different fashion and comparing it to how over time debates have really changed. Let's be honest. The debates from 20 years ago are different from the one we witnessed then, and we'll have a little bit of a clip from both, and it will be probably a 10-15 minute little thing, but I just thought that might be a little interesting thing to talk about Monday morning. It won't be a full episode like we've been doing, but if Nick wants to do that, we'll do it. If Nick doesn't want to do it, you'll never know this ever happened.
I feel it's something we should talk about, so yeah, expect that episode to come out Monday morning. And that should be a fun little discussion to have. And of course, we will be covering uh, all the other debates moving forward, including the vice president debate, like we did on yesterday's show.
Now, transitioning, going all the way to the great state of New York.
New York.
Let's talk about Governor Andrew Cuomo for a second, shall we? He has extended the renter moratorium, aka you are not required to pay your rent now until January 1st of 2021. Thank you, Governor Cuomo.
Yeah. Now, I know we say this every time, but I feel like we should reiterate here. This doesn't mean that you won't have to pay your rent later.
This is just, and remember, now there is different guidelines in line that you need to qualify for these things. It's not just like
not a free pass for everyone.
Right. So if you're interested in that, go look at our past episode on that. And another thing that he did bring up is that COVID-19 might be on the rise in New York again. He said that 25% of the regions are seeing a 5% increase in positivity rate from last week.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, if you look at the trend from the past few weeks, it's kind of expected because, people are getting annoyed, people are getting impatient, people are just kind of done with this whole thing. So I think we're seeing less people caring about the social distance guidelines, less people caring about the masking guidelines, and
there's so many scenarios that could be played into this, but scenarios are just that. They're scenarios. Nothing's written in stone, so it's kind of like not even bother talking about them. You can, if you have half of a brain, you could figure out those scenarios on your own. There really isn't much to say about that itself. It's just that there's something like New York, that was the hot spot. New York's on the rise again.
Right, so
does that give cluing for something that's going to happen in the future? It might not. It just might be just something
might be a bit
that
of
happens.
A spike. It might just be a bit. This tiny little spike that might not amount to anything. It depends on kind of how the people handle it and how things decide to play out. Just
right,
in general,
and I'm
moving forward.
Sure Governor Andrew Cuomo will keep everyone updated on that, and as soon as we hear something from him, we'll let you know.
Yep, we will be staying on top of the subject all the way through, and hopefully this passes. Hopefully this just passes along.
Next week. Let's talk about next week a little bit, because there's a lot going on next week. Now, just picture this. Scenes from our next episode. Just picture that for a minute. Monday we have the changing of the debates over time. Wednesday we have the regular failed election. Failed elections are almost over. Thursday, no, not Thursday.
Not Thursday.
Friday we will have our regular show of current news and everything with a secret special guest. Now, if you want to know who that secret special guest is, head over to our Twitter and you'll find out early who is going to be our secret special guest. And then Saturday morning, we will have a recap of everything that happened Thursday night at the vice president debate, October 7th.
Right. So the two main things to obviously keep track of and pay attention to with that is that Monday you will not be seeing a typical news episode like we've been releasing for the past couple of weeks. And of course that our vice presidential debate review won't be until Saturday because we can't release it on Thursday this week, of course, because that debate is later in the week.
And by the time we got everything done and ready, it would be Friday, and that would get in the way of our regular show. So we're just going to push that off to Saturday. We'll talk about it Saturday morning, regular time. Listen to it over the weekend, do whatever you want, and then that's next week. So next week's going to be a busy week for us. It's going to be a busy week for everyone, really. Another debate, news, regular news, extra news because of debates and presidential season. And the big thing is we have a secret special guest next week.
Yeah, it'll be our first time having a guest for quite some time, so this should be exciting.
Right. So now let's get into Nick's favorite segment.
Woo!
Dumb laws.
Dumb laws, my friends. Yeah, and Chris, why don't you go first this time?
Oh, Nick, thank you so much for letting me go first. Now, because I'm going first, you're all going to hear me ramble for a minute because Nick can't know that I did not come prepared with my dumb laws because I will never hear the end of it. So we're just going to talk about the weather. We're having beautiful weather this week, aren't we, Nick? How's that weather over there for you?
Well, I mean, considering it rained all night last night, and
I know,
it rained
isn't it
hard
beautiful
this morning. Don't know if beautiful is the word I'd use.
So I just not listened to a word Nick said because, like I said, you won't hear this, but I didn't come prepared. Keep that a little secret between us.
I went deaf for about 5 seconds there. I have no idea what he just said, y'all.
Nick, can you hear me now? Is everything okay over there?
Yeah, everything is
okay.
Pitch perfect.
Well, since you can hear me now, let me tell you my dumb law. We're traveling to Nebraska.
Oh, boy.
Where a person with an STD may not get married.
Oh, man. I've heard of this law before.
I don't know how I feel.
That's just sad, man.
That's a weird law. Just saying.
For Nebraskans, like...
Well, get married outside of Nebraska.
I mean, it's unfortunate you have an STD, and now they're doing a double whammy on you, and you're not even allowed to get married. Why, though?
Shucks almighty.
Shouldn't this be the opposite of what you're trying to do? Wouldn't you... Okay.
Oh, wow, that's an excellent point right there that I didn't even think of.
Yeah, because okay, we're going to bring this into a bit of a thought-provoking segment for a second. If you have someone with an STD and they want to get married, shouldn't you let them? Because then they're not going to spread the STD to someone else or like anyone else. And you don't have to worry about them anymore. Like you don't have to, you don't cause like a possible medical issue to other people by letting that person get married. Come on, Nebraska.
You know, Nick, I hate the excellent point you just made there. Now, could you wow me away with your dumb law?
Yeah, let's travel to Delaware, shall we?
Delaware.
And because in Delaware, it's a misdemeanor to sell, barter, or offer the fur of a domestic dog or cat.
You don't want your dog's fur on your coat?
You can't sell your dog's fur, my friends. Or your cats. No cats either.
There goes my investment idea with Elmer.
For those that don't know, Elmer is my cat. So
well, they all know Elmer's made a surprise appearance once or twice.
Yeah, he's definitely...
I think he's been our favorite guest because he always meows when we're arguing, and he's always siding with me.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. No, he became a judge once.
Yeah, and he ruled in my favor.
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think so.
And you know why? Because I paid him off in salmon. So automatically I won.
Oh, man. But
now, Nick, this might be a little controversial.
Yeah.
But I feel like the main dumb law is still the best dumb law out of all of them because that dumb law is something that I would actually do.
If you guys don't remember, the one from Maine came
last Monday. No, this Monday.
This Monday.
It came Monday.
Yeah,
this Monday. That made no sense. Monday.
It came on Monday's show, and it was you're not allowed to advertise in a cemetery, and this one's saying that that's a good idea for them to advertise in a cemetery.
I'm not going to get into it with you why it is a good idea if everyone wants to know why I'm right. Per usual, they should go check out that episode.
I still just don't...
I know you have moral issues.
I don't see it as a good... I don't see how much business you would gain from it.
You know what we should do?
What?
We should put billboards up in a cemetery and then put a billboard up somewhere else and see which one gets more attention.
Put one in the cemetery, put one downtown.
Where downtown? Because if it's like New York City and then upstate New York, obviously the one in New York City will get more attention.
Well, we'll do it in like
1 mile radius of each other.
Yeah, we'll do it where you are.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're gonna win.
I'm gonna win.
Stay tuned for next week to see who won on how we spent $10,000 of the monies we definitely don't have.
Either that or wait for the obituary for both of us, because we'll tear each other's throats out possibly.
Or wait until we explain to you how to file for bankruptcy.
Woo!
But
be proud of us, guys.
Are you ready for some good news?
I would love some good news, Chris. What do you have for us this week?
No, Nick, you haven't even heard the good news story yet.
No, I haven't.
And I don't know if you should be terrified or you should be nervous or excited.
I trust you when it comes to the good news story, considering this is your favorite segment, so.
It's a lot better than the other one.
Wow.
Because good news makes everyone happy.
Dumb laws makes my brain explode, and on some screwed up level, I love that.
So, this week's good news story is actually in our area, Albany, New York. There was this kid. Now, if you're around this area, people are aware of it, because it's kind of a big story around here. This kid, he was born with a disability, and the doctor said no way he's going to live past 6 months. And then he lived past 6 months. The doctor said, well, there's no way, 0% chance he'll ever walk in his life. Well, now he turned 4 years old. He is up, walking around, and doing everything that a regular 4-year-old would do with a few adaptations.
That's a miracle story right there.
Mm-hmm. And the only adaptation that this little boy has is that he does see therapists for, learning how to walk, things like that. And he also has hearing aids. But besides that, he's a normal little boy. And the doctor said there's no way he would live past 6 months. And now here he is at the age of 4.
Oh, yeah. They've doubted his abilities to both survive or to have normal motor functions, and he's proven both of those ideals wrong. This is...
When I first heard this story, I'm going to be honest with you, it brought a tear to my eye, because especially if you've been following it since he's been a little boy, and now he's 4 years old.
Stories like this are special. When you see stories of determination, of fight like this, it's quite a beautiful thing. And yeah, you're right, it does definitely bring a tear to the eye, because it's a horrible, as a parent, hearing from a doctor that your child won't live past 6 months has to be the most crushing thing in the world.
I wouldn't imagine as a parent.
But then to see your child defy all, medical say twice. First he lives, and he's 4 years old now. And then he is able to walk, and he's able to pretty much do everything normally. You've just watched your kid fight through some of the hardest things that they'll ever go through as an infant. That's special. And as a parent, you got to be so proud of your kid right from the beginning. I just couldn't imagine it.
I'm just so happy for this little boy, his family, himself. He's now 4 years old. He's living at pretty much a normal child's life, and that's what any parent could hope for, and I'm just so happy for his family.
Same here.
Now,
Honestly, same here.
with that being said, that is the end of this week's episode. We'll see you Monday morning. Links to our social medias are down in the show notes down below. You know the drill by now. But until Monday morning, see ya.
Bye, guys.